your 5 minutes or so of free interaction here. Let's just see how it behaves. Worst case scenario, it's your motherboard, which is another conversation. So if you're telling me you plug in and it does nothing,
Right.
let's see.
It probably turns on now, though.
Well, no. No. All right. So at this point, it could be the power supply. And it looks like you got a really an anemic power supply.
Yeah.
So I hate these particular style of Dells, mainly because you can't install just an off-the-rack
Right.
power supply.
Right.
The parts on this particular desktop are what do you call it? More proprietary.
Right.
Most desktops that look like this,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very conventional shape, but the
Right.
internal parts are sort of miniaturized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like having a golf cart engine in a car.
Yeah.
So it's an entry-level machine. The power supply, we'd have to go straight through Dell. It is an i7 though. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's the reason why I can't
Right.
diagnose.
Yeah.
It's
That's
It's a
interesting. Of course, you can't diagnose if it's off. Right. Let's see here.
I mean, just with I can't just go buy a power supply.
Well, normally you could. And in fact, I have a test bench power supply which might not even work with this because, yeah, let's see here. Live source. Let's see here. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, I guess that's not working. No video. All right. So we're just getting audio. Okay. So let's open this up. See what's at. All right, so yeah, so that's going to be a power supply directly from Dell, which means I can't give you a same-day fix. We'd end up ordering it. It's a relatively entry-level but sort of upgraded computer. It's an i7 with an SSD for storage, which is all upgrade. But then you get this power supply, which looks kind of anemic.
There's no like adapter I can.
Well, the power supply itself might not even be the problem. That's my problem. I don't have a power. Wait, you know what? Let's see if my power supply. Oh yeah, these are all proprietary plugs. That's the problem with this machine.
Even the motherboard where
Yeah.
the power supply goes.
Yes. Yeah. So generally, most desktops have a more traditional power plug for both the motherboard and the CPU. So that makes
something you build yourself. Right?
that's what I would recommend. Oftentimes, if you're an enthusiast or if you just want to know how things work,
Yeah.
give yourself an education by building a computer.
Right.
I mean, I do it all the time, and so you're not really spending that much more money. You can build yourself a computer for $500 or $600. This is technically an i7, which is technically an upgrade, but still, it's an entry-level upgrade. It's sort of like very anemic or very small V8.
Yeah.
You don't have very fast graphics. It's all on board. The power supply is probably what is this thing?
Like 360.
Yeah, that's like half what a typical desktop
Yeah.
is. Can you tell me basically what you paid for this thing? Because it's an odd configuration of specs because it's got an i7.
It's a work computer. I think it's like $1,000. They paid
Yeah.
for it, so
Interesting, yeah, because that's for what I see here. That's a lot of money. You paid for the i7, and then it also doesn't have that much RAM. The SSD is probably a little bit smaller than it should be.
It's like 1 terabyte or something.
Is it? Well, let's see
I
here.
would have put it. I mean, if I paid for it, I would have, spent my money more wisely.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So this is one of those weird situations where it's got some upgrade parts, but it's also got some weird entry-level construction, like your power supply.
Yeah, it's an entry-level machine, but I just threw
Well-
in some nicer parts to get up to 1,000.
Right. Well, the i7, and I can't see from the side of this how much RAM that is. It is only one chip, and it's that cheaper RAM.
Probably like 8 or.
Yeah, that's not much RAM either. If that is 8,
I think it's 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you got slower video because it's all part of the motherboard. We can't get it to turn on. I can't even properly power this thing up because even with a bigger gamer power supply, this, even in an entry-level one with a more traditional power supply, this is all I need to test. So, yeah, see, I don't think I can get this thing to fire up with what the available contacts are there.
But when Well, the power supply is just not even lighting up.
Right, that implies the power supply, but it could still be the motherboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see how this thing looks like it's got memory soldered to it. That's interesting. I'm not even sure what I'm. Yeah, so why? That's interesting. This part. Oh, you know what? I think I might have. I think someone declined to perform the labor on a similar machine, and I actually special ordered that power supply. Let me see if I still have it.
I have these old speakers here.
Oh, I started off with the audio equipment when growing up, so that's what got me into tech.
Oh,
So that's why I have 40-year-old stereo equipment. So yeah, I just happen to have this laying around, and this
nice.
actually might not be the same one because I got two of these. So let's just see what happens when. Brian, I know. I tried to fix the video, but at least you get clean audio, right? Can you confirm that?
So somebody declined the labor on repairing one of these Dell computers.
Yeah, I think it turned out to be a bad motherboard or something.
Mm-hmm.
So with the power supply, I was able to confirm that.
Oh,
Yeah,
so at that point it was not worth it.
right. And it was another one of those sort of weird, odd entry-level Dells. It wasn't this. It was actually one of the more the tabletop ones that are half this width.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Okay,
So like your motherboards are all proprietary.
yes, all the parts. I mean, all the source parts for the motherboard as a whole
Mm-hmm.
come from basically manufacturers like Dell.
Yeah.
They're hardware vendors that are they're design firms, and then they hire sources in China to put it all together. That's why whether you open even in an Apple, a lot of these components are the same. So or even like in an automotive environment, you pop the hood. A lot of it is from one vendor,
Yeah.
but a lot of it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's all from other sources.
Yeah.
So that is the case usually.
I noticed like Lenovo and those things, like they have proprietary connections. And
Yes.
here they do it on purpose.
Yeah, they do, and it frustrates me. I try not to dig myself too much of a conversation just because I don't want to come off as negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see it. Planned obsolescence. I grew up with hardware that was designed to go 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
40-year-old stereo right there. And here we are with this Dell computer. And even you as a consumer, not necessarily a techie, are in it for the recognition. And it's like, no, that's not what I signed up for. And we're forced to replace our hardware. I tell people to expect every 5 years to just budget new hardware.
And it's only because work pays for like $1,000 for a machine
Right.
in 3 years.
It's corporate greed. A lot of those companies are just going to write that check. They don't want to spend too much time with research. So, let's see if this power supply is able. Oh, good. That fits. That fits. This I could potentially end up selling you this, which means it's only been plugged in once or twice. Okay, so here's our problem. This power supply is probably not the right one because you got two plugs right here. Yeah, ATX CPU 2, ATX CPU 1. Let's just see for giggles if this does anything. I'm not going to break anything any worse. So let's see here. Hey, it fired up.
Yeah, this is not the first time one of these dinky little power supplies
Right.
have gone out on me.
Well, it's sort of like towing a truck, or a truck towing a trailer, and barely having enough power. So it's one of those barely legal configurations. A lot of these power supplies in these computers that these vendors produce, they'd want to save so much money that they put in, the engineers will tell them what they think they can get away with, and the engineers will say this will last you your 3 or 5 year warranty, and then it dies shortly after, or just a few of them die within that warranty.
No, the warranty just expired.
Right, of
Right,
course,
sure,
that's
man,
how it was
nice.
literally engineered. So
That's garbage, man.
yeah, it looks like I just got it to fire up, so now I get to plug other things in and see how it performs. it looks like this power supply, the one that's physically inside, supports multiple CPUs, and that's why we're dealing with this. So actually, let me do this. Okay, let's turn the TV on.
That's Saul Goodman over there.
Yeah. And then that's Walter
Yeah.
White right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's see what happens. Oh, that's weird. It's power cycling. That doesn't necessarily tell me it's fixed. Let's see.
It was doing that. Like,
Hey, we got a Dell. Hey,
It was doing that repeatedly.
Yeah.
Like, it would come here and then it shut off.
got it.
And then like right before the power supply died, it actually booted up.
Ah, okay, so your
Windows.
CMOS battery might be dead. That's what this tells me here. There's a calculator battery that tells it what time of day it is. And if that expires, if the date expires, then the machine will be all sorts of chaotic. It won't be reliable.
And I popped it out just to
That's okay.
and stuck it back in. I
Yeah,
don't-
but that's probably not gonna light it up. It's a CR2032. I think I have a few of those laying around. So I'm gonna get just come on. There, trying to get that menu out of there. Okay. Is this not working? It is plugged in. Yep, no, we don't need to do that. Let's see here. Escape. So far, so good. It's staying on. Okay, so that's mouse not working. Oh, I don't have the mouse plugged in. Let's just do this. All right, so let's do this. Okay. Okay, we don't need to do any testing. Do I really want to exit? Yes.
The fan just went off.
Yeah, it's it restarting.
Oh,
So this is normal behavior. Or did it shut down? So let's turn it back on. Good, okay. Looks like it's a booting machine. Is it Windows 7? Yeah, it is. Wow.
it is?
Yeah.
I thought it was a 10.
Wow.
No way, it's a 10.
No, that's Windows 7. I can guarantee that.
I was using this just recently though.
Let's see what. Hold on, let's see here. Start Windows normally. You're telling me this thing worked perfectly?
It did up until like a week ago.
Well, you're watching it happen here. So I'm seeing Windows 7. It seems like it's performing normally. Let's give it a second. Okay, so I'm wondering if the SSD is failing. Let's try this. I'm going to plug in a memory stick with Windows 10, and we'll go from there. Let's see if Windows, this is Windows 11, but let's see if this does anything here. I don't think this hardware will be modern enough for 11. I gotta find myself a Windows 10 memory stick here. Let's see, what did I do with? Ah, there's a Windows 10 stick. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Let's just see what happens. Probably gonna reject my Windows 11. All right. This is normal behavior. So I'm pretending to install Windows 11, and it's going to give me an error that says this hardware's too old. But I at least want to get to that point, because then I'm going to try it again. Now it took me an extra second to find a Windows 10 stick. I'm going to try this again with Windows 10, and then if it at least allows us to see the drive that's physically installed, we know your drive is probably at least functional. But that's Windows 7 we were staring at, the boot screen. I haven't seen that in over a year. Just because it's Windows 7. Windows 10 is like 6, 7 years old now.
I'm almost certain that it was a 10. That's weird.
Weird.
That's weird.
And I'm staring at it. All you have is one SSD. You don't have multiple drives. It doesn't look like you have a bootloader that allows you to choose either. It is technically physically possible to install with both Windows 10 and 7. That doesn't look like that's what you have.
Well, I have so there's one solid state drive. And
Yeah.
And then I also have a regular drive.
Got it. Yeah, so we weren't, I can't even tell at this point which one we're booting from.
It might have been that because I grabbed that from my old machine.
Oh, did you just shove it in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so then then you're trying to boot off the wrong drive then, potentially. So let's see if this,
Why is it doing all this if it seemed like it was just a power supply?
well, it could be two issues.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, there we go, Windows 11.
It's weird that because my work, they buy these things, right? So like
Right.
I had an HP and a Lenovo, and they all like crapped out after a couple of years with similar
Yeah.
type issues. But one time I had a machine that I built myself, and that
Okay, there we
lasted
go.
forever.
Okay, so it looks like your drives are in good working existence here. Let's see here. Yeah, HP recovery.
Oh yeah, that's the old one.
Yeah, okay, so you're booting off of this drive here. That's the Windows 7 drive then.
Yeah.
So you can reconfigure it so it boots off of the one that's installed, but by just shoving it in there without configuring it, the BIOS didn't know what to do, so it took whatever.
But it did for. I mean, it was using the right drive for,
Right.
for like over a year.
Okay, so here's where the CMOS battery counts. The CMOS
Okay.
battery remembers that.
Yeah.
And if it's a dead battery, it forgets it. So there you go. You got
Yeah.
potentially a bad CMOS battery, you added that hard drive, and you got a bad power supply.
Yeah. So I guess if you own one of these things, the key is to have like a power supply like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tech
Around.
shop, so that's why I coincidentally happen to have one. I don't do retail, but I order parts as needed. And
Yeah.
that's why I have a conventional, that thing works on 95% of desktop power supplies. So
So that's the one to.
that's the typical desktop
Yeah.
power supply, yeah. Not one of these anemic things. You can't even physically put that thing in there because the case is designed for the anemic one.
But with one of the like off the shelf cases, they're not much bigger than that.
No,
They're
I mean, you
just-
could get a big one. Like, I'm fairly, I'm an enthusiast, so I'm going to get the biggest, ugliest, garish case I can. And it's sort of like a mechanic. They like a big car so
Yeah.
that they can mess around inside, under the hood,
Yeah.
and still have room to move.
Right.
So it's the same thing. If you're going to have a big engine and you want big
Mhm.
parts, like a big old video card,
Mm-hmm.
a full-size high-end video card won't even fit in this thing. It might barely fit. But to my point again, power supply is not even going to be able to accommodate a higher-end video card. So while technically it has room to take an upgraded video card, you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would kill the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd stress it out even if it did work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You'd
So,
burn out your clutch trying to drag a trailer.
I mean, so would this power supply work for this machine?
It seems like it is, yeah, because it hasn't.
So how come the other one
I didn't
older
unplug
one
it.
have like two connectors?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't figure out. But it is labeled right here for different CPUs, and that's probably why they did that. So this power supply is designed for two configurations, one CPU versus the other. They just, for convenience, plug them both in. That's why the motherboard supports two different CPUs. It has two different plugs, not
I see.
necessarily needed.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is a unique setup. I haven't actually usually seen the two, because usually it's two. You get the one over here and then one over here, not two over here.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like this isn't the exact model replacement,
Mm-hmm.
although it seems to be firing up just fine. So let's do this. Let's unplug your mechanical drive and see if Windows 10 fires up. So all I'm going to do is unplug your mechanical drive that you put in, right? It didn't come with that, right? It came with the SSD? Good. So all I did was unplug it. Now I'm going to turn it on. Technically, I wouldn't have had to unplug it. I could have just reconfigured it in the BIOS, but let's see what it does. Okay. This thing will take Windows 11, I just found out.
Oh yeah.
Because this is 11, I was expecting an error message and it didn't
Oh.
give me that error message. So if you wanted to, you could put 11 on it.
I think I might.
There's our Windows 10. See? So I unplugged your existing drive. The mechanical drive that you just threw in there and plugged in.
Yeah.
So you were literally looking at 7. Now we're looking at okay. So now you got another issue here. So we don't know what the status is of that SSD. When you put the Windows 7 hard drive in there, was there a reason for it?
Just to access my old work files.
But for a particular so did it work before you installed that drive?
Before I installed it, it was working fine. After
Windows 10 was working fine?
Yeah.
Oh, here we are.
And after I
Just fixed
installed it,
itself.
it was working fine too.
Okay.
For like
Do you know
a
the
year and a
pin? Do you
half.
know the ping? The pin?
Yeah, 680488.
6
8
8
04
0 4
88.
8 8. Good. All right. So looks like good. Now we have a working system. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Okay, the terabyte drive, you got a terabyte SSD. And yeah, I just unplugged your other drive. And if we wanted to, we could replug in the old drive and configure it to boot off of Windows 10. So now it looks like it's a working system.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I can just take that.
that power. Yes, I can show you that power supply.
How much
Yes.
is that?
$60.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right,
Just,
cool. And then I'm going to charge you another $60 for labor.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
and cool. I think we're not quite done yet. We want to make sure we got a working system.
Yeah.
So I charge by the half hour, and I'm thinking that's not technically a demo because it's only been plugged in once. But
That's fine.
yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, it is technically new. It's been sitting on a shelf for a few
That's
months.
fine.
Yeah.
I basically got this machine for free from
Right.
work, so I just
Yeah.
like whatever I gotta do, keep it going.
Yeah.
Like if it were my own machine that I care about, I would
Right.
want the best parts in there. So.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can't pick and choose what part you want in this case because it's not a commodity. It's only a commodity if you build your own computer, or if it's a more traditional configuration where you can swap out a more standardized size power supply.
So can I build a pretty decent machine
Yes.
for like $1,000?
Yes.
I could, right?
Yeah. So if you're curious before you even buy anything, I would recommend a website called PCPer.com.
PC or what?
PCPer, and that's short for the word perspective.
Oh, PC per.
Yeah,
PR.
so if you go to PCPer.com, they have what's called a hardware leaderboard, and they'll give you a small, medium, large option. So like their entry-level computer build will be like $600 or $700, and then they have like a medium and a large option. So if you want to spend a couple grand, you could also.
Oh, so they kind of just give you like a list of everything.
Yes, they will actually give you links. I mean, it's sort of their ad dollars too. So there's that caveat. But
Right.
these are tried and true parts.
Okay.
So that they've actually bought these parts, configured them, set them up, used them, did burn-in tests, and that's why they call it a hardware leaderboard because it's basically performed to their expectations. And you don't have to stick with that exact configuration. You could say get a more power supply or a slightly less power supply or a different video card or a better video card. So that's one of the advantage of building yourself your own computer is that you get those options.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm directing you to that website is because they've already configured those exact collection of hardware configurations.
Compatible with
Yeah.
one another.
Theoretically, you can buy aftermarket parts for your car and find out it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Only with experience do you find out that 100 other people have the same problem.
Right.
So it's the same thing with computers.
Yeah.
This company, they do enough of a volume to where they know that this particular power supply works well with this particular video card. Because a video card is probably the most power hungry part in a machine if you're going to be building a gaming setup. It could potentially it could spike beyond the normal capacity of a power supply. So you'd want to make sure that the power supply is actually enough to supply additional hardware devices.
Right.
Like in a higher end setup, you could actually have 2 video cards.
Mm-hmm.
So you need
Okay.
to consider that. More numbers
Yeah.
is always better.
Hmm.
So get yourself a 1,000-watt power supply, and that might only be $100 part. It's not that much more expensive than say a 600 or 700-watt power supply.
Yeah.
You can spend a couple $100 too, but
Mhm.
yeah, ultimately, you're only going to spend a little bit more money for a lot more performance, and then of course a lot of these gaming hardware devices have either a 3 or a 5-year warranty, which is another reason why you wouldn't necessarily go with like a gaming rig from HP or Dell, because you're only going to get a much more anemic warranty.
Mhm.
Well, these parts that you're going to buy as an individual part at the retail level, it's going to be either a 3 or a 5-year warranty.
I see.
So when you put it all together, as long as you're willing to go through the motions of doing your own troubleshooting, you can get up to a 5-year warranty, which you're not going to get from Dell or HP without spending another $700 or $800. So
I
yeah,
see.
and then the parts are also better because they tend to, even though it's a gaming rig, I've actually done the numbers. I've seen some of these gaming Alienwares and HP Omens with
Mhm.
slightly less powerful power supplies than what they should have shoved out the door.
So, like I said, I've had like multiple of these machines
Right.
through work, and they all fail. Power
Yeah,
supply.
and that power supply
It's like
is
the third time it's
yeah.
happened.
So it is. That's probably your bottleneck or weak point.
Hmm.
So that's where we are.
Because I had another one as a Lenovo. My kid played like Fortnite or some crap, whatever. He
Right.
played, and it died.
Yeah.
Because it just, I think it drew too much power. For
Right.
the power supply.
And if it's barely capable of doing something, well, then it's being stressed out. I mean, you don't redline your car going everywhere. You're going to burn out the engine if you drive it like a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So,
So that power supply, the old one in the machine, it's designed for also a different motherboard. That's why I
yes.
have like multiple.
Yeah. So this particular power supply and this particular power supply
Mhm.
are slightly different, but they both are functional on a collection of family of computers that Dell
Right.
provides. And in fact, this was branded Dell, but it might even be also sold as an HP.
So just for basic like document processing and.
Well, technically, you can spend $300 on a computer. That's
Mhm.
if you're going to buy an off-the-shelf computer. The number I tell people, so that I don't have to shove a bunch of technical jargon in your face, is spend $600
Mhm.
because that's going to get you what I consider a good entry-level point. It's going to get you some slightly upscale parts.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if you can buy a $300 machine, but then you got silly issues. You got this sort of problem. You got SSDs that are too small. Like Dell even makes an SPS machine with an SSD and a
Mhm.
terabyte drive. That SSD that it typically ships with is only 128.
Mm.
That's not much storage. And I understand they're trying to keep their costs down, but that's barely enough for Windows.
20 gigs.
Yeah, 128 gigs is nothing now.
Yeah.
And you can get a 100 gig terabyte drive. I mean, a terabyte drive that's an SSD for $100 from Samsung. So the
Wow.
fact that they choose not to do that means that they're just trying to save themselves an extra $50. They apparently don't have the confidence that a retail consumer is going to spend that extra $50.
Mm.
So you're stuck with an SSD drive, and then someone who's not savvy doesn't understand what the concept of a second hard drive in a computer is. And then you don't understand what you just paid for, because now someone like me, it's like you don't have any room, your mechanical drive is big, but Windows was installed on this tiny but faster drive. And that's why the SSD was invented. It is a faster,
Mhm.
higher end technology.
Yeah.
Although I've learned that it's actually not that much more reliable. The retail hardware is a lot less reliable. Oh, that must have been a spam. I got sidetracked. The retail entry-level hardware is generally less reliable than, say, an aftermarket Samsung. So you can get an SSD from Samsung for $100. That's a terabyte drive. Works well with an upgraded setup. A new motherboard will take up to like 3 SSDs.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this SSD here, that's actually the latest and greatest technology or form factor.
Yeah.
So that's typically what you're going to find on a modern gaming motherboard.
So the SSD that's in there is kind of like just a generic brand, right?
It's a generic brand. It's their OEM brand.
Yeah.
And it's like brake pads. The same
like-
brake pad company can be, that same model brake pad can fit 100 cars.
Right, but you're saying like a Samsung.
Yeah, Samsung's an upscale brand.
Yeah.
Not that it's expensive, but it's an upscale. When I say upscale, I don't mean luxury. I just mean that it's a better brand than the OEM Chinese branded stuff that comes
you should,
directly.
like- so you should just build your own, basically.
I would recommend it. A lot of people just don't have an interest in it. I know a lot of people could. They're intimidated by it. They don't have the time. They're worried about having to troubleshoot it on their own. But it's going to get you a better setup as long as you're patient enough to deal with that. It's sort of like the old anyone who used to like to build their car or build engines for their cars.
Yeah.
I mean, these days modern cars aren't really workable, but you
Yeah.
used to have our parents, our dads would likely
Mhm.
screw around with carbureted engines in a way that they're just as enthusiastic as I am with computers.
So maybe next time I'll build my own. I'll try it.
Yeah, and in fact, that's a service I could offer. I mean, I charge by the half hour here at the shop. I could, in fact, if you check out my YouTube channel, there's situations where I could either do the manual labor while you watch, or I could just be a supervisor and tell you how to do it.
Okay.
So if you want the education,
Yeah.
that way you get actually more value, because that way, if I lead you to your solution by doing the manual labor,
Yeah.
that's a less likelihood that you're even going to come back to me. So you've doubled up on your value that way.
Yeah.
So I enjoy the work. My ulterior motive is that we get a free conversation on YouTube for other people to eavesdrop on. You also get to refer to that same conversation, and we're all having a fun old time.
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, I feel like I learned something.
Yeah, good.
I just, I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I was a computer science major.
No, that's fine,
I'm
because
just purely software. I don't touch.
you don't have to be embarrassed about it, because I'm just a desktop technician. I don't have your skills. I don't know how to code. I'm not a network engineer. There's an echelon of IT people, and in a corporate environment, you're the bigger earner. So I have my own skill. So to
Yeah.
berate yourself, it wouldn't necessarily be a necessary one.
No, but like just to diagnose when
Right.
something goes wrong.
Yeah, but it's a different skill
Yeah,
set.
yeah.
I mean, you have airplane mechanics that don't have a pilot's license, and you have pilots that don't know how to work on their own plane.
Mhm.
It is the same sort of environment.
Yeah.
So don't berate yourself because you spent 4 or more years in a college environment, and now you're embarrassed because you don't know how to necessarily do this.
I mean, like the technology passes you so quickly. Just
Yeah,
in a
I mean,
couple of
you do
years.
have to have a passion for it and an interest in.
Like these SSDs have a different form factor now. I just have
Oh, well, the newer, the M2, which is
the
what this
NVMs,
is. Yeah.
NVMEs, whatever.
Well, the NVMe 2 is the latest technology.
Oh,
There's also another one that's slightly slower that's almost identical. But then you have the 2.5-inch SATA ones that are the same plug as this old mechanical drive
Yeah.
that is a slower technology.
Right.
So that's now an older technology, but still valid. So yeah, but the SSDs from Samsung or whomever,
Yeah.
that's just my go-to brand. That's the one brand I can think of. But an M2 is generally the drive you want, not just because it's the newer, smaller technology. It's also the faster technology.
I see.
Yeah. So to be reliable, you want to make sure it's backed up to the cloud, and then physically back it up to like the shelf on a drive. And then if you want to back up stuff long term, a lot of people don't even realize this, but the mechanical drive,
Mm-hmm.
even sitting on a shelf, is a less reliable technology. You understand why that is?
Because the way data is stored on there.
Well, yeah, but it's a motor. So like
Oh.
a mechanical lecture you about not driving the car often enough, because you got soft parts that are also lubricated. And if
Okay.
that doesn't happen regularly, these parts can stick and deform because they're normally supposed to spin.
Mhm.
If you don't spin them, they become oblong, and then you get torque issues because you get this weird shape that certain
Oh.
parts are supposed to spin against. And that way you have to deal with the fact that you're maintaining a motor. So
Yeah.
for reliability's sake, you end up having to plug it in every few months. But my point is, an SSD doesn't have that failure because there's no moving parts.
Right.
So technically, if you want long-term storage, an SSD is probably better. And then also, if you want to do a mechanical drive as backup and cloud backup, that's a full backup. That's
Yeah.
if I was an insurance agent, that would be my umbrella plan. You want to make sure you have multiple ways and places to back up.
I see.
Because the cloud is only going to back up, say, a virus-infected collection of data.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you would want something that's always sitting on a shelf, not plugged in.
Interesting. Right. I gotta take that into account and
Yeah.
actually do it. It's part of the reason why I absolutely need to get this thing up and running. I have some work files that.
Well, that's the other reason that I had this conversation, to make sure this stayed on.
Yeah.
So it looks like your power supply is the problem, because we're using my power supply without issue.
Okay.
So I should be able to just swap this out and be good with it.
And I do need a new battery in there, right? Like
Yeah, I'll see if I have a CR
I mean, I
2032.
have some of those.
Yeah, then you do your own. So it is literally, the model number is at 2032.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to the watch shop or a watch or a jeweler,
Yeah.
and they'll sell you one for $3 or $4.
Yeah, I think I have a few lying around.
Cool.
Home, so.
So that was where it said it forgot. That might have been part of the reissue. Like I
Mhm.
said, if it literally doesn't know what time it is,
Yeah.
its behavior will be less reliable.
Right.
The whole machine.
Yeah.
Like Windows will sometimes boot, and then it won't do its updates because the update clock isn't in sync with the servers
Right.
at Microsoft.
So if the motherboard went out, would it still possibly have like no PSU light? Like green
Yes, correct. Because the you can get false data from the power supply, or the the pin from the motherboard might not fire that light if it's supposed to.
But the light on the back of the power by the
Yeah,
plug.
yeah, no,
so
this
that
light
thing
here.
actually lights on through the motherboard.
Yeah, this light's on. Yeah, you know what? I think that light actually does come on from here. You know what? Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that light does come on from the motherboard, unless there's some sort of pass through. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I think your fix is a power supply.
Okay.
Let's do it while you're here. Cool. I haven't had a good long technical conversation like that to show off to my YouTube audience in a long time. And unfortunately, my camera's not working, but at least they got audio.
What's your YouTube channel?
South Bay Tech Gurus.
Oh, okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Get yourself an education there, and you won't necessarily need me again. So, let's see here. Good. Let's see here, man. All right, so it's off. Now I need a full-size screwdriver right here. That works.
When did you move to this location?
About 2 months ago.
You're in that Two Guns Espresso.
Yeah, I moved in 5 years ago expecting 2, and it got extended just because of all the delays.
Yeah.
I was in the Riviera Village for 4 years. That was only half the square footage, so I needed something more. And then this is actually more than what I had in Manhattan. And I'm playing my cards long term. I'm not sure how long I'll be here. It's only been 2 months. I'm only on a 1-year lease. We got to see what happens. So it's not like I'm locked down to this place.
I've been driving up and down PC for like 40 some years, but I've never been in this building.
Yeah, nor have I. Been across the street having pizza and Subway. Alrighty. Okay, so this is. Oh, lovely. They zip tied their own factory zip ties are annoying here. There we go. Oh, we got that. Good. Oh, lovely. One of the cables that runs the one of the power cables runs the width or the length of the machine here. There we go. So did you you wanted to get stuff off of the old machine, of the old drive, the Windows 7 machine, right? Or were you just trying to add more storage?
Right, both.
All right.
Word files and just
Yeah.
storage.
Got it.
You left it connected.
I'm going to plug it back in,
Yeah.
and we can reconfigure it so that that's not a problem. Let's see. Hi, Linda. This is Chris. Hi, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris. My son's A on his Razer laptop is not working.
Yeah.
Like the A came off and then it doesn't work at all. Is that something you can repair?
Not necessarily. I'd have to see the machine in person to see how it's put together. I mean, I'll talk to you for free in person. I'm not going to charge you for just a conversation, but I think I need to see it, to see how it's put together, to see how practical the repair is, because I might end up having to totally rebuild the machine, which makes it a moot point or an expensive repair when you might be considering replacing the machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much is it to look at it?
Well, I'll know in 5 minutes how it's built. I don't charge for that.
Okay. And where are you located?
713 South PCH.
713?
Yes.
South PCH?
Yes, it's curbside parking, so it's not much of a parking environment, but it is front curb parking. Yes, call first before you head over. I'm in and out all the time. Like I'm going to go to lunch shortly, but I try to take a normal lunch hour, and then yeah, if you're not coming over like right now, just let me know when you want to come over.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So I'll probably do one of the spots. in the
Oh,
back.
oh, but today it's probably not a big deal.
It's-
Midweek, one of us would get a lecture over it, but
It's the one that does not have a sign, but I assume they're
Got
all
it.
restricted.
got it. Okay, so here's the deal. Because it's not the exact right power supply, I can't get it to fit just perfectly. Oh, now we got it. Nah, no. Guess I was wrong. Okay, it isn't the exact one, but I did get it to work or fit properly. Okay, so now we have your own power supply.
I was about to say to you, let's just tape it.
Yeah, no, I've done that. Like when I do certain certain repairs, sometimes it just makes sense to tape a drive to a particular chassis because, like, when I do iMac upgrades, the drives, an SSD, like a SATA SSD, works fine, but you have to strap it down because there's no aftermarket mount for that because those iMacs are weird.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way to go, to build your own. I just,
Well, if you're an enthusiast, not everyone wants to bother.
yeah, just from like a bang for your buck perspective, I just.
Right. Well, that's the thing. But still, you have to be willing to do a little bit on your own.
Right.
I consider it to be an enthusiast's way to go. But still, you pay me a couple $100, you're still more affordable, and you got yourself an education versus some under-engineered Dell Alienware or HP Omen.
Oh, I mean, this is the third time
Yeah.
it's happened to me as some power supply thing, just outside of warranty.
Right.
If I actually paid for the machine, I'd be pissed, you know?
Right. I get it. Let's see here. Oh, that was probably too tight. Almost there. All right.
And it's awesome that you have one of the power supplies lying around.
Again, yeah, it is a more rare configuration, which is why it's been sitting around for 6 months or more. I remember buying it.
I mean, it'd be great to just be able to go to Best Buy or something and grab something.
Yeah, but that's like I said, this particular
Yeah.
form factor for the power supply is not what I would call a commodity. That one is because it's designed to do
Yeah.
basically this. Okay, so now I'm going to fire it up, and I'm going to tell it specifically to boot off of the Windows 10. So when I do that, I'm going to hit, I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to do F12. That allows us to choose what we're going to boot off of when we have more than one drive. So we're going to go BIOS setup. We're going to go boot sequence. We're going to turn off all this stuff. We don't need it. Good. Apply. Good. So now if we exit, it'll ignore the drive that's physically installed, but still have it'll still give you access to the drive.
Yeah. This machine is probably like 2 years old at most.
I tell people to expect 5. That's what I think they deserve out of their hardware.
I'm a little bit annoyed actually.
Well, yeah, I would be too.
It seems pretty commonplace with these things. I think they're designed for you to go back and
Yeah.
buy another one every 2 years or so.
Yeah, these companies do not want repair. I don't know why, because it's a potential income or revenue stream for them. But
You mean repairs?
yeah, they
Yeah.
could easily sell parts.
No, I mean, it's probably that too, right? So either some people probably replace, others repair, right? So they make money either way.
Right. Oh, I was booting off the wrong thing here. Let's try that. That's why I was delayed so long. It was booting off of here. So now let's see it boot off of the thing. Come on. Now it should boot off the M2. We're getting there. I've never done a 45-minute live stream without any video. The audio was good enough. Let's see here. Get out of that. We don't need to do that. Why does it keep doing that? Well, that is weird. Escape F2, F2. Oh, let's do F2. Why is it doing that? Alright, so let's see here. Boot sequence. Oh, weird. UEFI. Ah. Where is... What I'm looking for... Hi, Mike. It's Chris. How are you?
Chris Sobrino, you have a caller.
Mike, this is Chris. How are you?
Great. I just wanted to say I'm so sorry to hear about taters.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I'm still adjusting. I don't know if I'm out of the shock of that happening, but thanks for saying.
Yeah, I'm just, I know it's heartbreaking, and they are people. I mean, you do communicate.
Yeah.
Big dog, he doesn't speak English, but you did communicate, and that's that anything you communicate with, your heart is connected to them.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to say I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's been a learning experience. I think you've seen a lot of what I posted online because I've never lost a person. So the fact that my first dog just passed is kind of a traumatic experience. But so thanks for acknowledging it.
Yeah. So, okay, man. Well, I get back to a new Mac computer, and then I'm gonna bring them both over to you so we can put it online and.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, we can have a better conversation in person.
You got a couple. Well, I'm gonna get a Mac. I'm gonna go to Apple and get a Mac, kind of the solid state, like kind of the update to the one I bought 10 years ago.
Right.
That's how old my computer is. It's 10 years old.
Right.
So I'm gonna go, and then we'll have to think about what we're gonna say. When we get, and then we'll have to spend some time just kind of putting it all together. Educating people. I was thinking maybe you might want to do a series like on YouTube. Like a YouTube channel that, yeah, what to do, how what to do, what's the first thing to do when you get a computer.
Yeah.
I got almost 4,000 subscribers now.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, you've been doing, well, I followed you on Instagram, not necessarily YouTube.
Oh, I've got TikTok too. I did one 15-second TikTok video. It's got about a 500,000 hits. It went viral.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, come on.
Anyway,
Hey,
I know you're busy.
Yeah.
Check and say hi.
Cool. I got a room full. Yeah, I got a few customers in here right now. So let's have a conversation either later today or tomorrow, or Monday. Oh wait,
Yeah.
Tuesday. That's the next work day.
Okay. Well, take the day off Monday. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
How are you?
Not bad, yeah.
Good.
All right. So what's up?
You owe us? Okay.
It's all right. Well, I can at least have a 2-minute
We're
conversation.
rolling.
I'm working on his machine right now.
Oh, cool.
What's up?
So I have a work laptop,
Yeah.
and I have to turn in my laptop because I'm leaving the company.
Right.
And I want to keep all my Outlook files.
Yeah.
and
The PSD files.
I do have PSD
Yeah.
files.
Those
yeah.
are the archive files for Outlook. So
Okay.
yeah. So you can either bring me a healthy computer or a USB drive, and I can drag everything over.
Okay.
And we can do this together while you point and shoot
Click.
at exactly what you know, what you with confidence that you want to keep.
Okay. So obviously, if we put the application over there, I would still. I'm working with United Airlines. I would still
Right.
need my United ID to get in, which I'm not going to have anymore. So
Right.
I really want the files that I can
Yeah.
access without.
So do you still, as long as you're able to log in and it's not encrypted, we'll have access to your data.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it's encrypted for their good protection, it's possible that they don't want someone like me just sliding in the side of the machine and grabbing stuff.
Okay.
But as long as you're able to log into the machine,
I can log in now because
yeah,
I'm retired.
then
yeah.
we can grab everything you care about.
Okay. And what? Okay. So
All right.
we're going to go to Costco and,
Yeah.
and get a computer.
Yeah.
Is there anything you recommend? I mean, we just need like a regular home. We're
My
both retired.
personal opinion is if you spend $600, it's going to give you enough hardware. Rather than me shove a bunch of technical jargon in your face, I think remembering $600 is what you should spend.
Okay.
That's going to get you enough horsepower.
Okay. That's good to know.
I already know exactly what you're going to get for that, or not necessarily literally exactly, but enough for a novice user to
Okay.
know that they're going to be confident in taking a road trip.
Perfect. Okay. And then my cell phone is Apple.
Yeah,
I just need to upload all my contacts on my calendar.
yeah, I do that administration
I don't know why
too.
they're not going up into the cloud. I
Well,
don't
it
know.
might be a checkbox, but I can sit with you and we can have that chat too.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
So we
Just-
just come back.
Yeah, give me some sort of heads
Notice.
up because
Okay.
it's just me. So
Okay.
find out where I am before you show up.
Okay.
Yeah,
George-
I'm gonna go to lunch when I'm done with him,
All right.
and then I'll be gone for at least an hour.
So call you or text
Yes.
you or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You're probably not working after today though, right?
Right, yeah, I'm
Sunday,
off
Monday-
till Tuesday.
Sunday,
Tuesday.
Monday. Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. We'll
Cool.
be back either today
Or Tuesday.
or
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Just give me a heads up before you show up, and
Will do. I'll
also
keep
if
you
you want,
posted.
if you're off shopping, you can text me images of whatever jargon you're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we'll
perfect.
talk about that before you actually buy it. and
Okay.
Make sure we don't buy the wrong thing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
Have a good
Yeah,
weekend.
no
Happy
problem.
Labor Day.
Yeah, you too. All right, what's that pin again?
6804.
Oh, sorry,
88
not quite right. Hold on. 6
8
8
04
0 4
88.
8 8. There we are. Good.
Nice.
So let's see that. Oh, good. So it sees. Come on. Let's just see. It looks like yes, the HP.
Yeah.
So there's your HP drive. You now have a working machine. There's all your HP stuff, your user folder, your Elm account, and then your desktop folder from that account, and there's all your stuff.
No, it's so annoying. So I had 3 machines that died, right? So one
Right.
of them my kid was playing Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah.
The HP, it died in a similar fashion. The power supply. All I did was move the machine like 2 feet
Right.
from one location to another, and it
Yeah.
just died. They like both the same way. It's like I don't know. It's like they're designed to just automatically happen.
Right.
at
Yeah,
some point.
it's planned obsolescence. I try not to
Yeah.
say it too often because I don't want to sound cranky.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do know that, and that's why I enjoy my 40-year-old stereo. I got some other vintage electronics, which I know is designed
Yeah,
to be
it's like washing
be here
machines.
for a long.
Old
Yes.
ones last forever.
40 years ago, you used to have a schematic in that washing machine that the expert would know how to read and use for repair.
Yeah.
You don't get that now. So there we are. It looks like a working machine with new power supply.
That's awesome. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So, and it looks like this has Windows 10 on it, but my installer looked like this hardware does support the upgrade to Windows 11. So
All right. I'll keep
if
that
you
in
wanted to
mind.
go that route, you could. So there we go. All set.
How do you like 11? Is it pretty?
Yeah, it's a
user-friendly?
cosmetic upgrade. It's slightly different. Yeah. There are technical upgrades, like it has better virus protection built in because it has a hardware chip called the M2, and that helps with a hardware chip to combat against virus is a big upgrade versus
Yeah.
even Windows 10.
Right.
That's really why the tech journalists and tech enthusiasts were all fearful of 11 because it only supported hardware that was only 4 or 5 years old or
Mhm.
less. So that M2 chip is really the bigger upgrade under the hood. And other than that, it's mostly cosmetics.
So that's something that you have to have just built in, right? That
Yeah,
chip?
yeah.
And then
Supposedly you can add an M2 chip to a
Oh.
motherboard, but really, like a laptop, you can't really add that sort of chip. But it is a hardware attempt at protection from viruses.
So if I ever build something, that's something to keep in mind.
Well, not really these days, because if it was built after Windows 11 came out, it's a
Oh.
given. It'll have
It's
it.
integrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
If you have hardware that's 2 or 3 years old, it's questionable.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there we go.
All right. So you said like 60 and 60.
Yeah, $120.
I can just pay you cash.
Sure.
Cool.
You need a receipt?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Cool. Let me close this up before I forget any screws. Alrighty.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yeah. I was, you would have been out of here a few minutes earlier, but I was milking the conversation. You were asking me good questions. So, yeah.
I know these power supplies are not off the shelf, right? So that was like the main thing that.
Right. And
Well,
you,
within a
you, you
few
might
days.
you might even want to expect this to not necessarily last terribly long.
No, I didn't expect you to have one of those lying around.
I wouldn't normally, but I guess it's a common enough issue.
So the person that you got it for,
I think it turned out to be their motherboard. Yes.
So how much would that be if it were the motherboard?
It might have been a $240 motherboard. It's hard to say. I couldn't tell you with confidence, but it's that price range.
So that's a generic motherboard as well.
Yeah, I mean, technically you got an upgraded i7 CPU,
Mhm.
but it's still what I would consider to be an entry-level offering.
Yeah, because I mean, I can spend $1,000 every 3 years. I just started adding stuff, nicer stuff to make
Right.
that $1,000.
Right.
But yeah, the rest of it is garbage.
Yeah, you just have to know what you're buying, and if you do have the wherewithal to actually put it all together yourself, there's a few upgrades you get in the process.
All right, here.
Cool.
That's
Thanks.
just kidding.
Yeah, let me get you your receipt. Oh, wait, receipt. Yeah, let's see. 12000. Custom. There we go. Manual entry. Oh wait, cash. Oh well.
So do you just all the stuff you can buy on Amazon, right?
Yeah,
You go,
what's your
like,
email?
PC
Hold on, I got the
Okay.
audio. Here, you want to just type it? The audio's on. The world doesn't need to know your email. Go ahead, hold that. Let me. There. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Alrighty.
Yep.
There, you got a receipt.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Yeah, let me know if you want to have we'll do a 2-man show and then we'll put it together. And if
Yeah.
you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch me do that with someone else.
I am interested in that.
Cool.
Kind of build something that's a little nicer and
Right.
reliable.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they usually last like 10+ years, right? When you have.
No, I would tell people still 5 or 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just telling you the gaming hardware that you buy generally comes with up to a 5-year warranty.
Mm-hmm.
So when it does fail in 4, you still get a free swap.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. If you buy any off-the-shelf hardware, just about everything has it of
Like 5.
No, a 1-year warranty. But the gaming hardware you buy as an individual part, that has either a 3 or a 5-year warranty.
Oh, when you say off the shelf, something like this.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is 1 year.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime you buy an all-inclusive desktop PC, it's just a 1-year
But
offer.
like the parts normally are like 5 if you buy them
Yes,
individually and
yes,
assemble yourself.
yes.
Okay.
The parts are a little bit better when you buy them separately.
Mm. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, no problem. Well, there you go. I did a whole hour-long show without a video, but I was getting at some good questions. If you've never been here before, my name is Chris. I operate at South Bay Tech Gurus, and I offer the work live, usually on camera. Unfortunately, all you get is audio today, but it looks like I just have to reboot the computer. For whatever reason, I think my camera got disconnected. But anyway, I invite you to show up. If I'm live, show up in the YouTube chat at South Bay Tech Gurus. Give me a live phone call at 855-434-8787. And that's pretty much what I offer. I do the work on camera, you get to eavesdrop, and sometimes I get stuck and someone in the chat helps me out. So if you've never been here before, I encourage you to show up and get yourself an education for free. Ask me a technical question through the YouTube chat, and you don't have to pay anything. But if you want in-person interaction, I do charge for that. My address is 713 South PCH, Redondo Beach, California, 90266, Unit B upstairs. Curbside parking only. Please don't park in the back. Bye.